Hey everybody, Steve McGill here, and I want to continue today to talk about encouraging a beginning hurdler to three-step and taking them through the process. So this is a third of four videos on that subject. And the first one was kind of overview of the steps. The second video was the first step, which is to incorporate proper sprint mechanics and developing speed. So today, in this third video, I want to talk about incorporating hurdle technique into the mix, okay? Because hurdle technique is so important because technique can be the reason you are able to maintain your three-step, and it can also be the reason you cannot maintain your three-step depending on how good your technique is. You know, I've coached hurdlers who I felt were fast enough to three-step, but they're learning during the season. I don't have time to implement all the technical aspects of things, and the technical flaws get in the way. They can't maintain their speed. Okay. The other part of it is when you focus a lot on just on speed and not on technique. Trail leg starts hitting hurdles. Your hips start floating, and all that kind of stuff slows you down. You land off balance. So technique is important, not just for aesthetic reasons, not because it makes hurdling look prettier. Technique is important because it enables you to use your speed to maximize your speed, and it enables you also to make quick adjustments during a race as need be. Okay, so beginners always want to think in terms of bigger strides, big push off the ground, big knee lift, big high heel recovery. Beginners want to think in those terms all the time, until the three-step gets to be more crowded. Then I got to lower things and quicken things. But when you're learning the three-step, you want to think in terms of the kind of sprint mechanics that you see in a sprinter. Okay, so hurdle technique. How do we teach hurdle technique? We teach it slowly, first of all. I have a series of drills that I use. Some are very common, some that I've created myself. First drill would be the side walkovers. Okay, I'm not a big fan of side drills in general, and once you've mastered what each leg is supposed to do, I'll stop using those. But when I'm teaching a beginner, I'll use side drills, the walkovers in particular, a lot. Okay, so side drill, walkover with the trail leg. You teach that first. And with that trail leg, you want to make sure that the lead leg is going past, or the lead leg foot is landing past the bar, and that the trail leg is coming from behind. Okay, we always teach a high and tight trail leg. We don't want it to open up wider than it has to. Okay, we want that knee facing the front with the heel high under the hamstring before the foot comes back down to the track. We don't want the foot coming down to the track while the leg is still coming to the front. Okay, we want to get to the front, high and tight, and then bring it down. So we want to get in the habit of doing that. All right, so with the side walk over lead leg, all right, we want to make sure we're getting our knee up and keeping everything dorsiflexed, and then coming down on the hurdle. So we're really exaggerating the knee lift to get over the hurdle. Side walkovers, I'll generally put those hurdles at 30 inches for beginners, and if I have some fold-up practice hurdles, I'll put them down to 27 or even 24, okay, to teach them the proper mechanics, all right? Because we don't want that foot kicking out, we want that knee coming up. We want to do the side walkovers, lead leg. Now, don't do walkovers over the top, down the middle of the lane, because the timing is thrown off. When you're doing over the top walkovers, the lean comes after the lead leg lands, whereas in real hurdling, the lean happens when you push off the ground, when you take off. So I don't do over the top walkovers. I just do side walkovers. Teach you what the trail leg does, teach you what the lead leg does. Okay. After walkovers, we'll go to the fence drill. Sometimes we'll do the fence drill first, actually. Depends. The fence drill trail leg, I emphasize to push off the ground first. Okay. Because that's what we want to do when we go full speed. We want to make sure we're getting a good push off that back leg. And then, again, staying dorsiflex, we want to bring that knee high and tight up into our chest, okay? Minimizing the amount of opening of the groin, okay? We have to open the groin some, but we want to open it as little as possible. We want the trail leg to feel as close to a lead leg as possible. Okay, so high and tight, and also it drives to the front as soon as it pushes off. Okay, so there's no delay and then a whip. Okay, it's driving to the front as soon as it pushes off. Okay, with the fence drill for the lead leg, I've kind of created my own little flavor to it, where instead of driving the foot into the wall or into the fence, we'll skim the wall with the foot and drive the foot back to the ground. Okay. The reason we do that is because I don't want to teach pauses in the action. Okay. The action is one continuous motion from the ground to the ground, from leaving the ground to landing on the ground. So we don't want to pause in the middle. Back in the day, when I first started coaching, we would pause in the middle and then snap down. I don't even use the term snap down anymore, because for us, it's one continuous cycle. That's how you create speed off the hurdle, and that's how you make it easier for a beginner to three-step. Okay, every time you pause, you're slowing down a little bit. You have to re-accelerate. We want instead to continually accelerate. Okay. With that being said, if you want to use the old school version of the drill, that's fine too. Just make sure that the knee doesn't lock when you drive it into the fence. Okay, keep that knee partially bent. Okay. Then we get into the drills that I've kind of created myself. The first one is the marching popover. The marching popover is a drill I created because I felt like people were cheating when using their speed when I wanted them to focus on pushing off. And so by marching to the first hurdle, you have to push off the back leg in order to be able to clear the hurdle. Okay. And then if you're doing everything right, and you're keeping everything forward, and you're pushing your chest forward, and you're pushing your hips forward, and your lead arm is efficient, you're going to find yourself accidentally speeding up as you go. So the march gets quicker and quicker down the line. Okay, so by the fifth or sixth hurdle or so, it doesn't look like a march at all. But in your mind, you're still marching. Okay, and that drill also teaches you to bring one leg right behind the other. Okay. Drive the knee up of the lead leg, drive the knee up of the trail leg right behind it. Boom, boom. Okay. And then we get into the, what I call the cycle drill. Cycle drill is basically the idea of cycling to the first hurdle and then taking that same action over the hurdle. Okay. And the cycle drill allows you to feel what the popover drill allows you to feel, that one continuous motion feeling. But now you're going a little faster. Okay. With the transition from a march to an actual run, even though it's not a fast run, there's more danger that there'll be technical mistakes. Okay, so when we teach it, in my camps and stuff, we always want to emphasize one leg right behind the other, one leg behind the other, one leg behind the other, continuous motion, cycle over the hurdle. Okay, I always tell my athletes we don't hurdle. Okay, because when you use the word hurdle as a verb, you tend to think of doing something different than what you're already doing. We don't want to do something different at the hurdle. We want to continue what we're doing. So in the popover, we're marching over the hurdle. Cycle drill, we're cycling over the hurdle. Okay. We go full speed, we're sprinting over the hurdle. Okay. So after the marching popover, you have the cycle drill, and then the cycle drill turns into the quick step drill. So the only difference between the cycle drill and the quick step drill is that the spacing increases and the approach to the first hurdle is faster. So in a cycle drill, I'll generally use a 4-step approach from about 20 feet away. And in the quick step drill, you use a 6-step approach from about 30 feet away. All right. And then in between the hurdles, the spacing increases by about 6 feet from cycle drill into popover. The quick step drill is the one I came up with when I was as a hurdle endurance drill. Earlier in my coaching career, when I had kids doing the back and forth workout that Ronaldo Nehemiah used to do in high school, and I found my athletes were just getting so exhausted with that I wasn't getting the volume that I wanted. So quick step drill enables you to kind of jog or walk back to the start line and go again, so you're able to get more reps in total as opposed to going back and forth and back and forth. But now I use a quick step drill as a teaching tool as well. Okay, so every time you add more speed, you're adding the potential for more mistakes again. Okay, so sometimes when you graduate from one drill to the next, some of the flaws you corrected at the previous drill reappear in the new drill. So you don't want to get discouraged by that, okay? Just keep going, and you know what you want to do. You know what the athlete's trying to feel and how it's supposed to look. So you just keep building yourself back towards that with each drill, okay? And so once you've mastered all of these drills, and when I'm coaching someone year round, we'll do all this stuff in the fall, okay? We won't put any blocks down. We won't go full speed in the fall. We'll master all of this stuff first, okay? Some of the more experienced will do. That's different, but you're talking about a beginner. This is what we do all fall long. September, October, November into December. We're just drilling, okay? And the next video is the one where we'll add in the speed and the block start and everything else that I'll talk about in that video, okay? But for now, the idea is, okay, you put the speed in, you put the sprint mechanics in, and then you put the hurdle mechanics in, and those two start to work together, okay? So you're doing speed one day a week, you're doing sprint mechanics, and then you're doing hurdle mechanics another day of the week. And then if they start to come together, and the athlete starts to feel how it feels, how it's supposed to feel when it's one fluid motion. And that will create the confidence that you want, not just to be able to three-step, but to three-step with aggression, with a sort of healthy arrogance, if you will, like I got this kind of attitude is what I'm talking about. So again, like I said in the first of these videos, we're not just trying to make it. We're not just trying to reach it. We're not just trying to say, hey, I three-stepped. We want to feel like we're rocking and rolling, like we're ready to beat some people in some races, okay? So again, next week, in the next video, we'll talk about adding in the speed over the hurdles. So first we had speed without hurdles, then we had the hurdle technique. So next video, we're going to have the speed over the hurdles. And once you put that part in, your athlete should be ready to three-step.